From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Season 2 has officially come to an end, thank God. We will recap the lows and reminisce on the highs, if we can find any. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that guy is Dr. Jim Jobin. I'm Nick Estrangement. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Happy anniversary! 2 years deep!
Yes.
Damn!
Yes.
104 episodes in the can!
We've reached the end of Season 2.
Yes! We did a damn good job. I don't know how you feel, but
we did a job.
We did a job. I don't know about 5 stars, but stars. Because there's no zeros. You can't get those. I feel much better about Season 2 than I did Season 1.
Yeah, I
Would
feel
you say
much
that's
better
true?
about everything in life than I do
Season 1. Yeah. Just reels of silence probably would have been better. No, really pleased. If you think about it, whenever we did our Season 1 finale, we set out some goals for Season 2. I feel that we lived up to those goals. One of the goals that we had is we wanted more guest stuff. We didn't just want it to be us.
Yeah,
we really wanted to mix the pod a little bit more. Dude, we had tons of guests this year.
We did.
We did a lot this year. We did a ton, which we'll get to when we do our favorite, memories of the past here. But and if you're not a patron of the show, this is a great moment to go do that. Anybody who might be listening, who in any way is affiliated with either of us, it's only $1. It's only $1. And you can hear some great stuff. But I received a gift early. This is also whenever we do our gift exchange. Nick gave me a lovely gift, which I'm not allowed to speak about in the main show.
Correct.
But it was so taboo that
sounding rod.
Yeah, had to be given to me. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is the time. $1 on the Patreon will get you access to that extra bit, and you can see it. So yeah. Happy anniversary, Nick.
Likewise, happy anniversary. So, where do you want to start?
Well, we have some gifts right in front of us. We could do the gift exchange, and then we could talk about our favorite things. All right, so Nick is handing me what appears to be... This looks like a giant turkey leg.
Yes.
That's what this looks like. I just feel like this is a bit of Jesus. I think it really is a turkey leg. This definitely feels like a turkey leg. So it is wrapped almost exactly like you would expect a giant turkey leg from Disneyland to be. It's in Santa Claus paper. It's got little Santas on it and little snowflakes. Let's see what Nick got me for Christmas this year. Okay, as I pull off the paper, it is wrapped again. There is a second layer to this. Okay, Jesus. And it is also taped together. What the shit is this thing? It's got like a plastic bag on it.
You might have to cut that tape.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay, so got one layer off, and then there's like a bag layer. Jesus. Oh my God, I hope the payoff's worth it. Okay, got the second. Oh, Jesus, here we go. Oh, no, you bastard. Oh, nice. Okay. It is definitely not a MAGA hat, but it is a red hat that resembles a MAGA hat, and it says, "Make red hats wearable again." Yeah, that's a good hat to wear. I think I could get behind this message.
Strong cause.
And there was also a giant sucker. I've got a giant sucker. It is a Chupa Chups. Thank you, Nick. How did you know?
Yeah.
It definitely looked like a turkey leg. All right, my man. Well, I've got this little gift here for you, and I also went twosies this time since last year you kind of didn't get a gift, and not through no fault of my own. I blame Iowa Home and Garden Magazine. I feel that was their fault. Oh, yeah,
that's right. That
yeah.
was... Oh, I actually saw this. I saw this on Patreon.
And I got it in extra small.
Oh, yes. It is a Christmas, it's an ugly Christmas sweater.
Yes.
And it's got Rudolph on there, flexing, and he's buff.
And he's ripped. Yeah.
And it says, Brodolph, the red-nosed Gaines deer.
Yes. There you go,
Thank
bud.
you.
So now you've got something to wear to the gym during the holiday season.
I was telling Laura about this the other day.
I think that you guys need to do something where like the sleeves rip off. Like that was the one thing I didn't like about it was I feel like they should come with like Velcroed on sleeves that can just be ripped. But alas.
And there's a second gift.
There is a second gift.
Oh, yes. Kenny G keeping it sexy game.
Sexy. Keeping it Saxy.
Saxy.
Yes, it is a wonderful board game in which you help Kenny G. Read the description on the back. It's great.
Help Kenny G, the world-renowned saxophonist, superstar, keep his groove through a hectic day. Work together to overcome uncool events, detangle those luscious locks, and avoid rush hour traffic without missing a brassy beat.
Yes.
It's a smooth combo of strategy and cooperation.
Now that is a date night game. You're welcome, Laura. That's going to be a good one. Pour you some Cavassier,
Wow,
play some Keeping It Saxy. That's a good one.
Out of all the board games that I own, this is one of them.
That's one of them. Damn right it is.
This is it.
Oh, I'm excited for that. I'm really excited. It was a hard one to give away.
Yeah, I bet. You know what's really cool about this is that I actually noticed that in regard to gag gifts, like there's no shortage of money that you can spend.
Oh, yeah.
Like I just kept coming up with all these amazing ideas for gifts.
Yes.
And eventually I was like, I can't
do all these. I
gotta stop.
Yeah, that's right. You can go broke on gag gifts really fast. So I'm really excited. Thank you, sir. Thank you for my gifts. These are adorable. I'm very excited to wear this, and very excited to see the pictures of you wearing that sweater. I think that, and we need to cut those sleeves off, man. You gotta,
I'll figure it out.
You gotta do that. You gotta cut those off and like Velcro them back on. That we can just rip them off at the gym. People are like, holy shit, this guy.
I'm gonna run it through the wash a couple times so it shrinks.
Oh, I got it
so
extra small. Did you see the tag?
Skin tight.
Yeah, no, I made sure. I think I got it in like a child small.
It's a medium.
Yeah,
it's a
there
medium.
you go.
This'll work.
Yeah,
just
shrink it. Shrink it in hot.
I'll shrink it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's been a hell of a
arms are way too big.
Yes.
Those arms are coming off.
Yeah.
Gotta rip those arms off. Gotta get them. And just gotta leave like frayed fabric on the end. It's gotta be the deal. So Merry Christmas,
I was
man.
afraid people at the gym weren't going to know that I was a douchebag, but now for sure they will.
Thank God. Thank God. If there's one thing Jim can help you with, realizing your inner douchebag.
Thank you.
Douchebaggery.
Douchebaggery is, I feel, really my specialty. You know, I have all the CEUs in that. So, hell of a season.
Yes.
And fun Christmas time break. And now we get to reflect on season 2. And now that it's in the history books, the best moments.
Right.
Some of the best moments of season 2. I'll come up with one.
What were your highlights?
Man, I got a ton. I'll tell you one thing that was huge was Kate. Kate creating the Pod Therapy comic.
Oh, yeah.
That happened this year.
That was
she
in
launched
season
it
2,
in April.
It?
Yeah, she launched it in April. And did great bits with our A blocks and just like putting stuff up there, because the very first one that she did was our New Year's episode talking about setting SMART goals that you did with Brian.
Yeah.
And so she started creating those in Illustrator, started doing them by hand in the beginning, and then eventually made what has become part of my history that will be passed down from generation to generation, my vasectomy comic.
Yes.
Yeah, gold. Just pure horrible.
So that
gold.
actually was on my list too. Was that episode?
Moments.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Yeah, luckily it also has a great visual that goes along with it. But I'd say the Pod Therapy comic was way up there.
You know, you made a comment earlier about thanking me for putting up with you, and
yes.
I would like to say that it's those moments there that really make it worth it.
That's what holds on.
Yeah,
you're just holding on for those moments.
Yeah, every once in a while there's a vasectomy story.
Something happens
that makes it worth it.
Then you just hold on to just wait for that next one to come out.
Exactly. Reminds you why you do it.
Yes.
It's watching Jim suffer in life, because occasionally Jim will suffer. And that makes it all come back to center. So thank you, Kate. Pod Therapy comic, that was a huge highlight, I think, for me. Obviously, another one for me was, I think that, and we were talking about this in the pregame show, but one of the goals that you and I set for season 2 was we wanted to mix the pot. We wanted to get more voices on Pod Therapy, and we had a lot of ideas for that. We wanted experts to come on. We wanted to bring in other therapists. We wanted to bring in maybe people to talk about their lived experience. And man, we did the hell out of that in season 2. We had tons of people come on the show. It was fantastic.
Yeah, we had Lori Gottlieb.
Lori Gottlieb, who turned into this big success after getting the Pod Therapy bump.
Yeah, some would argue she was already successful.
They would try. I mean, she wasn't a New York Times best-selling author for that particular book.
We can at least agree she was successful enough to have no reason to come onto our show.
Yes. No,
anyway.
To this day, I have no idea why that happened. I have no idea.
We caught lightning.
We
And
did.
then,
Lightning in a bottle, man. We had some big
yes.
celebrities come on the show. We had Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah, Yakov.
Yeah,
He was
Dr.
a great
Smirnoff
one.
now.
Yeah.
Dr. Drew gave us a shout out.
Kind of.
Yeah,
In a way.
paid him off.
In a way.
Hey, man,
Actually,
money
yeah.
will get you whatever you want. But
Yeah.
those are some big names that came on the show. Big episodes.
Yeah, but I think overall, I think some of the most fun that I had on our episodes were when we had listeners.
That was
in the
great.
studio. That was
Tons
fun.
of listeners
Yes.
joined us this year.
Yes, and we got Jim's Neurotic Bingo.
Oh, my
Uh,
God. That was
Thanks
fantastic.
to Will and Manu.
Manu, yep. Oh,
And,
my God.
yes, that-
And actually, that just got shared on Patreon. I
I
saw.
put that up there
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you got like the PDFs of it and
Yep.
sent those out. And so patrons now have their own copies of Jim's Neurotic Bingo to play at home. What the hell? Why
Yes.
not? But dude, yeah, we had tons of visitors. We had Manu and Will. We had Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop on the show, Scooper Ascending, Scoopy Doo, Leon Kassab, who's now officially our lawyer, which is very good to have.
Yes.
We had Andrea, officially Theradactyl. Yeah, man, we had a ton. And we also, one thing that I really liked is not just that we had friends come on and that was fun, and these are just supporters of the show who just shared conversation with us. This year in season 2, I feel like one of the most interesting things that we got to do was have real therapeutic encounters. Like, we kind of stepped into that gray zone of, let's talk about a person's real life. Let's be thoughtful not to be therapists at them. We're not trying to treat them, but we're trying to create an educational space for them to share in like a super authentic way.
Right.
And man, we had some big ones on here. We had your friend.
Brandon.
Yeah, who shared about schizoaffective disorder.
Yeah.
That was humanizing.
Yeah.
It needed to happen.
No, absolutely. And he's been asking me on a regular basis to come back.
I'd love to have him back. I'd love to have him back. We had Data Scoop. Data Scoop came on and shared about his child in rehab, and amazingly, it was during that recording that he got notified that his child had left and was not going to the rehab, and so kind of had a crisis on air. It turned out fine. Everything turned out really good. But we got to hear this very raw truth in this person who's watching this crisis unfold and trying to solve it. And we kind of had to snap into, just sort of being a human to that person and staying with them in the crisis, not performing as therapists necessarily, but wow, super real, really lived experience. That taught us about recovery. We had Chelsea and Patrick come on, and Chelsea and Patrick were the couples work that we did. I think that was me. I think I was in that
you.
one.
Yeah.
But that was neat where they wrote in and said, listen, we're going to be in town. We'd like to kind of do an actual couples kind of encounter on the show and hear a little bit about what couples therapy might look like. And so we talked in depth about that, and they both filled out paperwork and kind of answered love language questions on the show, which was huge. We had Ellie O'Dare. Ellie O'Dare came on and talked about being trans in America and really opened the door to that human insight of what that is like and what little things you wouldn't even think about, like how it affects your ability to earn money, or just have a profession and be treated like a human being wherever you go. And that was just deeply amazing. So huge therapeutic encounters this year, not to mention the people that joined us for Mental Health Month.
Yeah, Mental Health Month I loved. That was great. I was very proud of that because that was, I believe, our first Patreon project that we actually completed.
Yes, yes, it was. But we still managed to screw it up because I was posting.
I feel like you mispronounced only.
Yeah. Yeah. We still didn't get it right because that was the one where I was posting those inside of the main feed and not posting them on Patreon. And the patrons, a lot of the people that have Patreon, they don't subscribe to the main show anymore. They just have the Patreon feed in their hopper. And they heard us referencing all of these shows, these bonus shows with interviews, and they were like, what the hell? And like people were like tweeting like, guys, what are you talking about? Like that's never shown up. I'm like, oh crap.
Well, I take back everything I said.
Yeah, we still screwed it up.
Yeah, we still screwed it up.
Yep. But
we did.
Hema and Daya came on the show.
Yes.
She talked about codependence. She talked about borderline personality disorder. We had Dr. Sarah Steelman come on the show. She talked about, again, the psychology of the LGBTQ group and how to treat them and as a trans person herself and what that's been like for her to kind of step into that psychology. And that was really thick with content. You interviewed Junior. That was tremendous.
Yep, I had Junior and
he talked
Monique.
about recovery.
Yeah. talked about recovery and what that's like to be in that world and to come out of that world and then, work in rehabs.
Yeah.
Had a great interview with Monique.
Oh my
Massetti
gosh,
about,
that one was fantastic.
About, working with veterans.
Yes.
And the challenges that...
one of the things I
entails.
loved about that one, by the way, is, and again, I don't think that it appeals to everybody who listens to our show, but I really like sometimes that we can reveal to regular people, like, what it's like in our industry and some of the handcuffing that goes on and some of the unique kind of red tapey stuff. And she talked about that.
Definitely.
She's like, here I am, a helper. I want to help people, but you have no idea the bureaucratic stuff that lives on me and why I can't help people, why there's huge consequences to the slightest, slip of my pen. And it was like, man, like there is a lot that goes on in that. And the VA of all places, like where we really want to see good help.
Yeah.
But that was a great
It
series
was
of interviews.
eye-opening, yeah.
And all that was part of our failed Kickstarter campaign. That was fun. So we got to play with Kickstarter. That was neat.
We did.
We got to you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So that one banged off the rim too, but we gave it a shot.
I don't know if we hit the rim.
I don't know. Yeah, this is just airball. I think nothing but air. Yeah, got caught by a fan out of bounds.
Yeah.
But I was proud of that. I was proud that we tried. I thought that it got out there what we do, and I think that there's some people that found us because they frequent Kickstarter and discovered us a little bit. So that was, hey man, we did something for Mental Health Month. That was a huge thing we wanted to do in season 2, was take Mental Health Month seriously. We reached out to other podcasts, and we actually ended up being guests on other podcasts. You joined 1 or 2 shows, I think.
Yeah, I did. I was on Who Scoops. I was on Grunt Work.
Yes, Grunt Work was another one.
Yeah.
They did a whole thing on Mental Health Month,
Right.
and then they re-aired your interview again.
Right.
And that was really cool. We again got to be on Matt and Mattingly's Ice Cream Social, mostly because we showed up to a house party. Or I did.
Yeah, we didn't.
I did. And then my mom got forever branded as a bat, so that's happened as well.
Yeah.
Just got pointed out that she is a bat.
Yeah. Not so much. This image was not created. It was observed.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I got to be
In
on...
fairness, she's a bat.
In fairness, yeah. To be a scientist about it. Let's just come down to the facts.
Scientific method says Chip's mom's a bat.
This has been worked out thoroughly. I got to be on one of my favorite podcasts ever, and this has got to be one of the shining moments for me in season 2, is that the Opening Arguments podcast with Andrew Torres. That is a show that I always listen to. I just really like it. I love lawyer stuff, and I got to be on that show, and that was really cool. We got to talk about the Goldwater Principle, Trump mental health stuff, and like, can you remove a president? That was super cool, and they talked about our show on their regular show. They put it in front of their patrons. A lot of folks came over to our show after discovering that, and that was really, really cool.
Yeah,
man, we got to do a lot. Season 2, not to mention the Pod Therapy Pinewood Derby, which I won, and then it was revealed that I cheated.
Won?
Yeah, I mean, rigged, and but hey, winning's winning. I have a trophy, so I'm just saying. But that was fun.
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
I think this next year we'll do it again, and this time I'm actually going to probably come to you and be like, hey, how do I carve one of these? Because it's time
really?
for me to learn things.
Oh,
Instead
time
of
to
just
be
buying
honest
one
now?
from NASA.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that was
Fair
fun.
enough.
Jake contributed. Brooks Lyle contributed. We had some great racers in there. Jake ended up winning it.
Yeah, he did.
But also one of
was
his
good.
wheels fell off. But I think that helped him. Because
Definitely.
they say that that's actually a strategy. So
Yeah, no, he had a good car.
we had a lot of gambling losses in season 2.
Yeah.
I lost a lot.
I don't know if we did.
Nick, did you lose? Did you have gambling losses?
I don't think
in
so.
season
I
2?
think I did
No, I
pretty
didn't
good.
either.
I'm a little down on
Huh.
the ledger, I'm going to be honest. I'm a little low. I got to stick, but you know what? You got to keep playing. That's how you win. Eventually you win those back.
I could not agree with you more. I encourage you to keep gambling.
I have lost so much this year. I've lost sushi 2 or 3 times. I've lost whiskey. It's been bad.
And honestly, I think within the next
I
few
lost
hours,
beer.
you will have lost again to some of our listeners.
Oh, that's right. Was the other bet that I would
you're gonna-
outperform you in fantasy football? Yeah. And I stupidly didn't even pay attention this week, and Andrea's whooping me right now. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's yet another loss.
I believe I was on Nick's side in the fantasy football bet.
Lord Almighty.
I think so.
I got to keep up with
I think
this.
there's 3 people total that you now owe something.
Something too. I've taken a lot of bets.
If Jim owes you something, please write into the show.
Please write into the show
and let us know.
and claim. Just
If
submit a
Jim and
claim
I
ticket.
made a bet about Nick's team outperforming him, somebody let us know because
Yeah.
I feel like we might have made that bet too.
I think at some point
so.
somebody needs to track this. Like there needs to be an ongoing sheet somewhere where it's like, hey, how deep has Jim gone? Who's
I'm
up?
just going to volunteer right now as the Pod Therapy bookie.
Yeah.
Just-
There needs to be an
I'll hold
Excel.
on to the money.
Yeah, there's got to be an Excel spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, hell of a year, man.
It was a good year.
Hell of a year. I feel
I,
like we
I
lived
enjoyed,
up to it.
and I think one of our highlights is the Sober October, which we
Yes.
absolutely did not rip off from Joe Rogan.
No, Rogan. Who's
completely.
that?
We spell it different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really good opportunity for us to actually put ourselves in the seats of our patients
Yes.
and actually do something
Live
to
it.
work on ourselves, and we learned a lot.
We got a lot of really positive feedback from that experiment. Not just from folks that were like, hey, that was useful, like, thank you, but from people that appreciated, and we did this a lot more on Patreon than on the show. We did do it on the show where, we kind of were genuine and honest and real. But also on Patreon during that month, I posted journal entries, audio journal entries, where I would just reflect on whatever lesson we had just worked on and really apply it to my life and talk about my own failures and just how I wasn't, living up to my own expectations and the frustration of that. And a lot of people wrote in and just said, hey man, thank you. That was nice to, hear that you're, suck at life. You're trying, God bless you, you're trying. So that was cool. That was one thing this year that I think was huge for me. And I don't know if you felt the same way, but I know for me, this year we got a lot of encouragement, and we'd get a lot of emails, a lot of DMs, a lot of tweets. Voicemails were left for us. That was another thing during Mental Health Month is we had recorded messages. Frozen 49th was on the show. Oh my gosh, almost forgot about Frozen 49th. And she gave us a coloring book, and Viva Alaska.
Yep.
And we got to hear the recording on there as well, talking about, her mental health experience and what she's lived through as well. And just so many words of encouragement this year, man. Tons of people just telling us, hey, listen, thank you for doing this. I'm glad that this is out there. And I'm rooting for you guys. And God, that means so much just to hear that,
Absolutely. Which leads me to the next thing, which I think is going to be really important. For our listeners out there, I would love to actually get some feedback. Because that's one thing we don't typically get.
Yeah, that's true.
We really only get numbers as far as how many people are listening.
Right.
Sometimes it goes up, goes down. We don't know why.
Right.
We don't know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I would really like to actually get some feedback. And you can do this by going on to podtherapy.net. And you can actually drop us a line on there, and it's completely anonymous. We have no way of tracking it.
Yeah.
So actually give us some feedback. What are some things that you like about the show? What are some things that we could do different?
Yeah.
What are some things that we can improve upon?
Right.
Pretty much everything is negotiable.
Yeah, I don't have to be here.
Exactly.
We could just boot me.
I think one of the two of us should be here.
Yeah, that's fine. And I think
But everything
know
else,
who
I
it's
would
gonna
say,
be.
is negotiable.
I don't know, guys. It could just be
just Jacob.
live coaching with Jacob.
Dude, did you see that Justin... Yes!
Been life coached.
Oh, shit! Yes! Oh, my God!
Oh, I love that.
Oh, my head is exploding! I did not
That is
know you had
awesome.
that. I was
didn't
about
know
to
that
say, did
either.
you know Justin did it? Play it again. Play it again. I need to...
No, you got to hear the beginning of it too. Yeah, it's fine. You've just been life coached.
It is amazing.
Wonderful.
That is better than I could have ever
It is.
imagined.
That's so much
I
better
like
than
how
could
it
have
has
imagined.
this strong metal feel
Yeah.
of yeah, motherfucker. And then you've just been life coached. It's fine. Yeah. That is the coaching. It's fine. Bam! It just explodes through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, I love
and
it.
celebrates itself. Oh, that is fantastic.
I changed everything I said. That was my highlight for
That was
season
it.
two.
That was it. Wow. Justin, thank you so much.
Great job, Justin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Nailed it.
Did not expect that. That was a triumph. Oh my. Well, there it is. Wrap the show. I think we're done. I think we could just leave. That should be the whole show now. Get rid of our jingle.
It's going to be one of those things like where the spinoff does better than the original show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Jacob the Life Coach?
Yeah.
Oh, that would kill.
Are you ready for another podcast?
I think
how
it's
many is
fine.
that? Like
Could fit in
4?
another one. Yeah. You can
4
put in one more.
podcasts?
Good Lord, man. Yeah,
I'd have to cut one out.
Yeah.
That
I guess I'll
sensible.
just leave. I see like you're both looking at the door.
All
I'll
right.
just,
So we'll just
thanks
wrap up
everybody.
here.
2 seasons in the books. I had a good run. No, but to all the listeners, thank you so much for supporting this show. The Patreon community has become huge. Obviously, one thing we want to make sure we say, here as we wrap season 2. And sincerely, thank you, Jacob. Thank you to Matt and Mattingly's Ice Cream Social.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, we're happy to have you guys in here. This
You guys-
is great. It's been a great on our end on the Matt and Mattingly's Ice Cream Social end. It's been a nice, not totally serious side, but a serious side to our community, which has been really great. Because you guys are you guys have your own community, and I don't want to short sell that. But you guys are part of our community as well, and it's been great having that as a part of our community over at Ice Cream Social.
Well,
thank you.
we can't thank you guys
Nick?
enough.
I was mainly talking to
Oh.
and Laura, of course. I'm talking mainly to Nick and Laura.
Yeah, good job, Nick. You're really doing a good job.
Oh, his feelings are hurt.
No, it's fine. I'm
guys.
just going to look at this
Jim.
this book that I'm
It's
not
fine.
allowed to talk about on the main show, and I'm just going to hold this and do what it says not to do, and I'll feel better. Oh no, but sincerely, thank you guys so much, and Paul and Matt out there, thank you guys so much, and thank you to all the people in the Scoop community for absorbing us into your orbit and your ecosystem, and just becoming so enthusiastic about mental health. And there's been such good conversations, and people have done such fun things. Ulrike sent us fun Iowa gifts and mental health gifts, and people have sent in fun stuff and made us bingo cards and done all made us jingles. It just, wow, man, like so many people are just rooting for us and helping, and they're along on the inside jokes, and they're with us.
Speaking of which, she sent us an anniversary question.
Oh, that's right.
Because we asked listeners, send in any questions that you want us to answer for,
Yes.
about any specific topic. And that was a mistake.
Yes, always a mistake.
We
to
know
do
that now.
Yes.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, we should not leave it so open-ended.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of thinking, people might write in and say, what's your favorite thing about that? No.
Had a
that
few
didn't
of
happen.
those, but we, so her question is, why do wombats have square poop?
Mm-hmm.
Which I
Did you look it up?
I did.
Of course he did.
Also, wombats have square poop?
Yeah, it's cubed.
Well,
technically.
cubicle poop.
Boy, that
Yeah.
feels...
It is 3-dimensional.
Okay, if ever there was an argument that we're inside of a simulation, that was it. That's it. I feel like that's a clue. Like, right there. The simulators are like, guys, figure this out. Like, that nature cannot make square tetrahedron fucking poops. Like, that's not a thing.
The theory is it has to do with the dry air.
Go on.
Well, in that, like, it's because it's very dry, it just clumps together that way. Because in zoos where there's more humidity, they don't actually have that.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
I feel like the sphincter would have to be quadrilateral in order to produce square
But
poop.
I mean, bunnies do spherical poop.
Yeah, we all do spherical poop. What?
Wait,
Hold
we
on.
do? We do?
What does your poop look like? Hold on. Let me get out my gallery on my phone.
Hold on.
Let me just show you.
I don't think we can
No,
just
I want you
jump
to look at
past
this.
that. I
Look
think
at
we
this.
need to stop for a second.
Look at these pictures. Does this look similar? Can you relate to what I'm showing you right now?
That's a basketball. Something's wrong.
Our show is
You need to
great.
change your diet.
So, Ulrike, I don't know, but I accept Nick's proposal. I think that the best answer is not the air thing. I think it's clearly something to do with the simulation.
Something to do with
that is a
Minecraft.
glitch in the Matrix. Yeah, there's only one explanation. Somebody screwed up the code for the wombats in the simulation. That's why they're square. That's your evidence. Wake up.
Another
Stay
question
woke.
we got. What drove you guys to become therapists in the first place? And what keeps you in the profession even though it seems stressful and challenging?
My
At least as
lifelong
an
fight
outsider.
against unemployment. I think that was it. What caused you to become a therapist, Nick? We've talked about this a little bit in the past, but it's good to revisit it every year.
Yeah,
To new listeners are like, who even are these guys? I got sucked into this universe. Apparently, they do questions and answers. Usually, whenever we start our first show of the following season, so when we start our first show of season 3, we do like a full introduction again and go, "Hi, this is who we are. This is what we do professionally." But season 2 recap. Why did you become a therapist?
I just enjoy helping people. I took a psychology class. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's
Answer
what
to Classified?
That's what got me into it. No,
Yeah.
I
If you like pina coladas and talking people off the ledge.
I really enjoy psychology. It's
Yeah.
just really super interesting to me, and I've got into that. And then actually had no interest in going into looking at addiction until I just happened to have an internship in a rehab.
That was that was all it took. That's for you, was just
No, I had no interest in working in addiction.
where you ended up.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then that was my first internship, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Mine was a different approach. I was originally going to go be a pastor at a church. That's what I wanted to do. And a lot of things changed in my mentality. A lot of things changed in my opinions and perspectives. And I found that when I did, show up at churches and help out, I liked talking to people individually about what was going on in their life and kind of meeting them on a human level. That became the thing I liked about it. And for me, you know what it specifically was? I was teaching at a high school, and I had my bachelor's in religion. I was teaching at a Christian school, and so I was teaching at a high school, and they asked me to do like a guidance counselor role with the kids and take the high schoolers onto like this personality test and basically try to figure out what they'd be good at in life. So I'd found this career test, and I had them all take it, and they all found really interesting things. And one of them asked me, "Well, have you ever taken it?" And I was kind of offended because I was like, "I'm a grown up and I have a career. I'm your teacher." But I was like, okay. And so I took it, and it kept saying, like, be a therapist, that kind of. And I was like, well, don't you have to, like, go to school infinity years to do that? Like, how do you even do that? And, like, then I started looking into it, and I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Turns out it's easy.
Turns out.
Turns out.
Just make a jingle.
Turns
make
out,
a
yeah.
jingle, get a business card, you're in.
Yeah, that's all you need.
So, yeah, that's what started it for me, is I was like, okay. And then I looked into it, and then I started looking for schools and found a graduate program.
And what keeps
Started working
you in it? That was the other part of it, even though it's stressful and challenging.
It is stressful and challenging, and I'll say that's one thing about season 2 that I think I intentionally tried to do differently, and I don't know if the fans like it. I don't know if anybody agrees. It was just for Jim. In season 2, I tried to do a lot less. We still do content. We still answer people's questions, but it's literally what I do 40 hours a week and we obviously don't give answers to every single person who sits on the couch, right? But like, sometimes I wanted a break from that, and so I think season 2 became a lot more slapsticky, a lot more like, A-block stuff would just become less serious, and I really liked that because it was like, yay, we're not on my day off, I'm not still doing this. So yeah, pod therapy helps keep me in the game, but but we have different lives now in season 2 than we did in season 1. I went into private practice full time. You are now working in an educational and regulatory, aspect of it. What keeps you going in that aspect?
Well, when I was a therapist,
Yes.
it was the success stories. It was
Right.
that one every so often that got their life together, and you see that, and it was amazing. Like, that just reinforces it for all the other attempts that you've tried to intervene and were unsuccessful.
That's got to be the only thing that keeps any therapist going, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, now, because I'm in an academic setting, and I'm basically, my role is almost like that of a consultant with other organizations. So now what I do is I provide training and technical assistance to organizations,
Right.
as opposed to individuals. But ultimately, my job is the same.
Right,
Like,
it's still therapeutic.
I'm still, working with people. I'm still giving people, assistance, kind of figuring out what their needs are and helping them meet those needs. So I'm kind of doing the same thing, only now I'm doing it in a much larger role. So now when I go into an agency, I'm not working with one person. I'm working with a team of people who are working with hundreds of people.
Right.
So now I feel like I've got a bigger grasp. Like, if I can help them improve their standards and their quality and the treatment that they provide, that's going to trickle down and help a lot more people. So now it's a lot more motivating to me.
Right, because it's a big picture.
I'm actually making a bigger difference, I think.
I think that's the key. I think the key ingredient to how you stay in this is you I think you are enthusiastic about it. You have to actually enjoy it. It's a profession. It's a vocation. Like, you have to work a long time to get to do it. You have to go pass all these exams and prove yourself, and there's a lot of standards and credibility you have to earn. And then when you get to do it, I think that you're passionate about it. You just really enjoy what you do, and you feel that it makes a difference. And then I think you hold on to those wins. I had one this year in season 2, because the seasons align with the calendar, right? Mm-hmm. And in season 2, I don't think I talked about it on the show, but I think I had tweeted something kind of vaguely referencing it. But I had a case and I had a session where it was a very complex situation. It had to be handled very, very delicately, and I did it. And I thought I did good. You know, it's one of those moments. A lot of times in our work, we don't know if, you know, the results are downstream a lot of times, mm-hmm. and we might not even be in their story anymore when their full, you know, realizations occur and when changes really happen, because those things are so tiny. You know, like, it takes a lot of fits and spurts of change to ultimately catapult somebody into a new life.
Right.
And in one situation, I had a really complex session, was very, very difficult to handle, and it was a finely nuanced thing. You had to kind of be expert level at our profession to do it. And I got through it. And I felt like I did it well. I felt like it would have held up scrutiny. I feel like another professional would have said, wow, that was by the book. Like, you succeeded at it. Got a lot of lucky breaks in it, but it was complex, and I got it done. And I remember reflecting on it on Twitter and saying, you know, every once in a while you get one of those. That you really sink an expert putt. And you go, wow, I'm good enough. Like, I must be good at this. Like, you can't fluke that one. Like, you had to get it.
Right.
And I got it, you know, and I thought, wow, man, that was pretty cool. Very rewarding to say, okay, I did this. I'm glad I'm in this profession, because I don't know that the guy down the hall could have done it.
Yeah.
And that felt good.
Yeah.
Actually, I do think I talked about it on the show.
Yeah, you may have.
Yeah. I usually don't, you know, not give myself an opportunity to brag about being good at something.
Yeah, it's very rare we get to hear that perspective. So,
yeah. Good. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will discuss working with challenging families. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
This week's Theraproducer sponsor is Robert Brownie Jr. Mint. Auld Lang Syne is a Scots language poem written by Robert Brownie Jr. Mint in 1788 and set to the tune of a traditional folk song. It is well known in many countries, especially in the English-speaking world, its traditional use being to bid farewell to the old year at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. By extension, it is also sung at funerals, graduations, and is a farewell or ending to other occasions. If you'd like to join internationally renowned songster, lyricist, poet Robert Brownie Jr. Mint to make the show possible, you can go to www.patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/therapy.
We're back. You're listening to Pod Therapy. Our next question is about working with families.
Yes, it is. And you know what? Interestingly, a quick note on Auld Lang Syne. There's another podcast. It's now becoming one of my very favorites. It's called The Anthropocene Reviewed. Long name, but The Anthropocene Reviewed. It's by John Green. He's a established author, huge YouTube community guy, also a mental health advocate. He lives with OCD, and his most recent episode is he reviews things on a 5-star scale. So like he'll pick like Chuck E. Cheese and like review it, but it's like deep and thoughtful. And he picked Auld Lang Syne. He talked about the history of it and got into the nuances of it. Man, that was cool.
Really?
So like I highly recommend that one. It's a good 15-minute listen and like really cool deep dive, very like soulful. I learned a lot about it, so very cool. Am I reading this alcohol one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alcohol. This letter's about alcohol. It says, I am not sure how this should go. I will try not to ramble. I found you, like most other people, through Ice Cream Social and really enjoy your podcast. Yes, thanks. I have not always been there emotionally for my kids. My ex-wife says I lack empathy and compassion. I'm a 50-year-old male that grew up in the stereotypical East Coast home. If something needs to get done and you just suck it up and get it over with, and emotions don't really play a role. I have a very hard time even telling my family that I love them. I show my affection for my kids by buying them things. I pay their car payments, insurance, and give my kids a few $100s a month. This is something that I would like to stop doing, but I'm not sure how. My middle child is 24 years old and always has been independent. In her late teens, she admittedly used weed and cocaine and dropped out of high school. She has always had entry-level retail jobs. On vacation, she met a young man and ended up moving to California from Arizona. For the last 2 years, I would get calls from her saying that they were in a fight, either physically or verbally. I had always offered to come get her, but she would never come home. On the 21st, she called most of the family and told them that she loved them, how much she appreciates and misses them, and how often she thinks of us. It might have been a goodbye call. Oh, okay. It might have been a goodbye call. The next day, her boyfriend called saying that he was concerned because she had passed out and had taken several alprazolam. After a very long, non-productive call out of anger, I told her that if she did not come home, I would pull all my support and come get the car. She finally agreed, and I flew her out to bring her home. When I arrived, the place was a mess. It felt strange. The boyfriend looked like he was very high, and there was water pipes and crack pipe needles on the counters, people sleeping on the floor, like something out of a TV show. On the way home, she would say how this was going to be good for her and she needs to get her life back on track, and we have knowledge that we can share with her. All that talk seemed like BS. She seemed to ramble on about nothing, and she needs to stop and go to the bathroom a few times. I really think that she was doing some kind of substances in the bathroom. But now that she's home, I am not sure what to do or how much to push her. We want to support her, but we really just don't know how. I've started to try to find a counselor, but most likely not until after the first of the year. I am not sure if we should call her on her BS or how far to push her after seeing someone. Is Alcoholics Anonymous or Al-Anon appropriate? I'm not sure what to do next. Any wisdom you can give me would be great. Anyway, thanks for letting me vent. Anonymous.
Yeah, this is a great question. And first of all, my heart goes out to you and your family for having to deal with this, because this is a very frustrating situation for a lot of family members that get put in a place like this where it's almost kind of like a helplessness.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult for a parent, because you feel like, well, if there's something I can do, that I can manipulate things to get this person to do what they're supposed to do. But in reality, this is a 24-year-old woman, and she's going to be making her own decisions, and it's hard to accept the fact that you can't control the outcome. Yeah. It's very difficult to accept that. So what is your role now? Ultimately, I think that's kind of what the question is. I also want to go back to something that was mentioned early on in the letter, which is that his ability to communicate affection towards his children.
Right.
Because I do think that is going to be important as you continue down this journey of and this road to recovery. As a family, is getting to a point where you can feel comfortable with that. And maybe that's going to take some individual work on your own. Maybe that's going to, focus on maybe some family sessions or something like that, where you can actually start to be able to verbalize. Because although you do express love in your way, sometimes that doesn't always get through to the person receiving it. So being able to find a way to communicate that person's going to be open to and is going to understand the message is going to be very important and very helpful in her recovery. Yeah. How much do you push her? Well, I wish we had a real easy answer to that.
That's tricky.
We'd be a lot further along in in our careers.
It's like reeling in a fish, right? I mean, you got to like give a little bit of the line and then pull it back in, and just it's there's no formula. There's no formula. In many ways, this is where a therapist plays in some ways their strongest role. Is sort of that interventionist and that originator of the thought, and trying to bring somebody into this place of crossing that threshold from pre-contemplation about the problem into contemplation, into preparation, and being willing to do something about it.
Yes.
Very hard to do.
It is extremely difficult to do. So, and I mean, ultimately what we really want is we want the person to get to that internal motivation, not external motivation. External motivation is I'm changing because of some outside circumstance.
I'm in trouble.
My family wants me to, or I'm avoiding legal consequences, whatever. Internal motivation for change is I'm doing this because I want to do it. It's something that is internally motivating to me. There's a lot of different ways people can transition from that motivation into internal motivation. But ultimately, it's not going to be your job as a parent. Your job as a parent is to show love, to be there as a support system, but not to be enabling. And that's a very difficult line to walk. You have to be able to to help them, to assist them, but not do for them what they can do for themselves.
Yeah, no, really well said. And Anonymous, one thing I want to take a moment to reflect on. You handled this very, very well. And it's always a hard thing. It's always hard to know what to do, what's right, what's wrong. Offering support when the person is living up to the value, right? When they are doing the right thing. In rehab work, when we talk to families, we usually talk about watering the plants that produce fruit and starving the weeds, and not giving bad behavior good nourishment. And so you did the hard part, which is withdrawing support when the person is just out of their mind and living poorly. And then bringing support when they're willing to evacuate and they're willing to come alongside you and do the next right thing. So you handled that expertly, and I'm glad for your description of the drug house. I think a lot of people don't know what that is, and what the writer is describing there is a drug house. And these become these horrible places of people just passing around drugs. The house usually falls into disrepair. They're usually squatters. Nobody's paying for anything. And it just becomes this hellhole, where people are living in a state of delirium. And it's a bad, bad place. And so you're probably right. On the drive home or on the ticket home, you notice those frequent bathroom trips. I wouldn't be surprised if your child was escaping to go in there, and my guess would probably be heroin. I mean, my guess would be something to do with opiates, because people get sick if they don't keep taking it. And that actually leads to one piece of advice I definitely want to offer you quickly, which is this is all relatively soon. Sometimes we don't get to our letters for weeks. It depends on how deep the queue is. In this case, this just happened, and so this is pretty fresh. And I want to bring your attention to it is during this point when a lot of people are very vulnerable if they're a heroin abuser. It's when they're most vulnerable to overdose, because it's whenever they've interrupted their regular use, and so they might start getting sick, and they might try to go score, dope on the street or whatever, and they might take too much. Their body is now in flux, and it's during that time when they're vulnerable to overdosing and dying. And so this is the kind of thing that I'm glad that you're willing to get help. I'm glad that you're thinking a drug counselor is a good move. And also, in addition to that, you really might want to look up outpatient detox treatment. Suboxone treatment could be something you want to look at. Medication-assisted treatment is what we're talking about here, MAT. And if you look for that in your community, you might find an outpatient clinic that doesn't require, usually insurance will cover it, doesn't require an awful lot, but they can start getting her medicine. If she needs it, if she's willing to admit to using that she needs this kind of medicine, they can get her medicine that could basically protect her from going back out looking for heroin and ultimately resulting in a relapse.
No, we don't know for sure she's actually using
We
heroin.
don't, yeah. I'm just taking a shot.
The only thing we do know for sure is the cocaine, the benzos,
Yes.
benzodiazepines, which is
Right.
the alprazolam,
Yes.
which is a generic for Xanax.
Right. And she could have been
and
running to
alcohol,
that too.
right.
Yeah, she could have been sneaking pills. and
So,
doing
I
that.
mean, yeah, there's a lot of different things that could be going on here. But so, I mean, as far as like he asks, AA and Al-Anon. So, for our listeners, the difference between those two is AA is going to be for the person in recovery. Al-Anon is going to be for the family member.
Yes.
Here's the other thing too. You can't control what she's doing or what
Right.
she's not going to do, right? I think the analogy that Jim used as far as, watering
The
the
plant,
flowers,
yeah.
starving the weeds
Yes.
is a really good example, a good analogy of what your role can be as a family member.
Yes.
You cannot, it's not going to be possible for you to dictate her behavior and force her to do things.
No.
It's just not going to work. Basically, what you have is you can say, I will support you when you're doing these things.
Yes.
Hey, if you're going to if you get into therapy or you're going into treatment, I'll help you. I'll give you rides.
Right.
I'll do this. I'll do this.
Right.
But these behaviors you're going to do on your own.
Right.
If you're going to hang out with these individuals who are, from your drug world,
Right.
I'm not contributing to that.
Right.
And that's the best thing that you can do is not contribute, which is difficult for a parent because as a parent, you're used to being able to control
Yes.
and manipulate and say, you're going to do this, you're not going to do that. In this situation,
Can't do
you
it.
really can't. And Al-Anon, I think, is going to be a great resource
Yes.
for you
Yes.
as a family member
Yes.
to be able to learn that distinction.
Have
Because,
to do it.
yeah, that is a big part of what Al-Anon does.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of good people in Al-Anon who have, they'll continue to go into Al-Anon whether their loved one is in recovery or if they're active in addiction. They
Right.
continue to go, not for them, but for themselves.
Right,
Not,
not
for
for
not for the person in recovery,
Right.
but for themselves.
Yes.
And Al-Anon will help you with the interactions and
Yes.
expressing your love and everything else. They'll
Absolutely.
help you with all of that stuff as well.
Yes.
Yes.
No, very, very neat theories that go into Al-Anon. And also we should point out Nar-Anon.
Yes.
Because there's NA, Narcotics Anonymous, and there's also the complementary Nar-Anon, which is same thing as Al-Anon. It's for the family,
Right.
but it's for those who perhaps their loved one is more focused on narcotics. In this case, that sounds like what it is.
You can go to either because no one at any
No.
of those meetings is going to say, "Oh, you're at
You're in the wrong
meeting."
place. No,
Yeah.
not at all. At the end of the day, loving somebody who is addicted to substances is a very complicated thing, and it is confusing. It is a whirlpool of contradictions and multiple decisions, not knowing when to play your hand, not knowing when to back off. And that, I think, goes back to another thing the writer talked about is, should I call her on her BS? That's complicated.
Yeah.
I don't want... My first guess is not right now. It feels like the recovery capital that we have with her, and again, I'm just guessing from the letter, I'd say that recovery capital is low right now. We don't have huge motivation. We have an exhausted person who is willing to basically grab the life raft and be pulled out of the ocean. And that's barely enough to work with, but it's enough. And I don't want to snuff out that flame of hope by bringing them a rain of consequences right now or calling them out on all their poor thinking. Look at them as an unhealthy person right now.
Yeah.
And then get a helper, a professional, whose job it is to help them see the errors and help them see the manipulations and help them see what you're calling the BS, while also pursuing this greater, more significant goal of help and ultimately healing. And that's what a therapist is going to do. You know, a lot of times the families want the consequences, or a lot of times the families want to know what happened to grandma's pearls, or to know, the truth about everything and be here, to get the BS clarified. And a lot of times we as therapists are going to hold that back and say, you know what, we're going to get there. Right now, though, I just don't want to do that. Like, I want to get this person help.
I mean, it's almost kind of like justice being served, kind of
Yeah.
like you want justice.
Yeah.
And now is not the right time for justice. Right now, it just needs stability.
Yeah, and I totally
Right.
get where the writer's coming from, because a
Yeah.
lot of times we think, well, maybe if I punch through the BS, we can stop playing these games and call a spade and get help, right? And there's room for that, and I think you are doing that to some extent, writer. But this is where it's such a complicated thing, and we don't want to let the fish break the line and get away.
And that's why I like your analogy, because in a sense, it's not necessarily calling on bullshit. It's just, I'm not going to reinforce that.
Yeah.
We tilt our head and we let that go right on by.
That's
we
right.
don't acknowledge it. We don't.
Yes.
It's just.
And what they'll talk about in Al-Anon and what a therapist will talk to you and your family about is offering silence. And actually, writer, this is a great point for me to say, it's not just your daughter who should see a therapist. A lot of the work that I do, sometimes I'm talking to a patient who is addicted to substances and they're willing to get help, and maybe that's what I'm doing. And a lot of the time what I'm doing is I'm meeting with the family members.
Absolutely.
And that patient is somewhere else. They're in a rehab, they're an outpatient, they're doing a program, and I'm meeting with the family members as their expert in their corner to help them navigate this very complicated situation.
Absolutely. The family is a huge component. And
Can't be understated.
Yeah, because it's almost. I always like to use the analogy of it's like taking a piece of cherry pie out and then changing your mind and I'm going to put
it back in.
You can't, because all the filling from the other pieces has now filled that void. And that's ultimately what happens when you take the person with the disorder out of the picture, you treat them, and they're doing great, and you want to put them back into the family.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work without addressing the entire family.
We all got to work together here. And so, to the writer, I want to see you and your family maybe go get your own therapy appointment with an addiction professional and just tell them, hey, I'm here because my daughter's struggling. Here's what I know. Here's what I don't know. I want coaching. I want to know how to handle this the right way. And that's a very intelligent move for you and your people to get that guidance to figure out how to handle this person and have somebody in your local community on the ground level who can give you that feedback and say, hey, based on what you're describing, here's my recommendations, and maybe even be that person who says, also bring her back to me. Maybe I'll be your helper and her helper, and that's not uncommon. And that's an area, Nick, I think that addictions professionals are a little different in. usually we're worried about those dual relationships, but the nature of addiction treatment requires competency with the family.
Absolutely.
And so I think that that's very normal for the same therapist to work with the family and also work with the individual and coach both.
Yeah, I think I love the 12-step programs. If you can get her involved in that, that's great. But ultimately, I think get her involved in a treatment program first is going to be very important. If she's willing to at least go in for an assessment, and get involved in some kind of therapy, whether outpatient or if she needs to go inpatient. Inpatient is typically used for stabilization.
Yeah.
So that could be an option, but get her involved in something like that. Strongly encourage that as much as you can. And then also as a parent, try to be involved.
Yeah.
And ultimately your involvement in her treatment is up to her.
Yes.
On what she chooses, what level of involvement she wants you to be in,
Yes,
included
absolutely. My last thought, writer, is one thing I want to guard against, and I'm not sure if you're doing it, but just in case you are, I want to say something about it. The first part of your letter talks about how you don't feel like you showed your children enough love and how you're frustrated at yourself because you don't feel that you know how. And then you talk about your daughter and everything that's going on with her. In no way, shape, or form are you responsible for this. You are a good father or a good parent in this case, and you're a good person. And you're trying your best to love your child through a very complicated situation, a situation that we consider a disease that is psychological, sociological, and biological. Part of their past influenced them. You are not the reason for this. You are not the root of this. And you're showing love in meaningful, human ways that are authentic to you. You're allowed to grow in that and want to do more and do better. That's okay. But I'm not going to allow you to blame yourself. That would not be accurate. And that is not us just trying to give you comfort. It's us trying to tell you the truth. You're not to blame for this.
Right. It's good that you found something that you want to improve on.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
But that's probably all that is.
That's all that is.
Yeah.
You're not responsible. You didn't say that you thought you were, but just in case, I want to make sure we address that.
Yeah. Keep us posted. I'd like to know how this turns out.
Please do.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will discuss holiday estrangement. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
All right. This week's Theraproducer sponsor is Kayla Lansbury. In ancient Roman religion and myth, Kayla is the goddess of beginnings, gates, transitions, times, duality, doorways, passages, and endings. She is usually depicted as having two faces, since she looks to the future and to the past. It is conventionally thought that the last month of January is named for Kayla, but according to ancient Roman farmers' almanacs, Kayla was the tutelary deity of the month. If you'd like to join Kayla and make the show possible, you can go to www.patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/therapy.
We're back. You're listening to Pod Therapy. Our next question is about holiday estrangement.
Holiday estrangement. This is from Ulrike. How do you handle holiday family estrangements when you aren't one of the principals? My sister refuses to have anything to do with our parents. One of my kids pointed out this week that holidays would be a lot easier if we didn't have to celebrate separately due to this estrangement. I personally frequently feel stuck in the middle as well. Thanks, guys. Ulrike. I feel like I'm nailing that name. I feel like I got it.
Yeah, I get that feeling too.
Yeah, that I feel that I'm confident about it?
Yeah.
Not that I'm nailing it, right?
I think it might just be the two of us.
Yeah, but this is pretty common. I think the holidays, a lot of people relate to this, where it's like, nope, we do Christmas A at this person's house and Christmas B at these person's, and even though they all know each other, even though we could all be we can't be in the same room.
Yeah.
Because there's some kind of hard rule, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, this is the reason why holidays are so stressful, right? I mean, you're
one of them.
Even if your family does get along, it can be stressful, and this is a situation in which they don't. So yes, you have to have multiple holidays. How do you handle that?
Gosh, that's tricky, huh?
It is, and
because you don't have a lot of control.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I think this is just one of those situations in which you just, it takes a little acceptance and a little mindfulness in being able to say, and not label it as this is good or this is bad, but just that this is. Yeah. This is the current situation.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
there's an acceptance of it.
Here's how we move forward. Here's how we make the best of the situation.
Right.
As far as how to respond, with your child says, hey, wouldn't it be great if
we could just do this all in one go?
Yeah,
didn't have to hop to grandparents' house.
That would be different.
Then go to auntie's house.
That would be different.
Yeah. Okay.
But here we are.
But here we
And
are.
This is this is how we're gonna approach this. This time around.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. Ulrike, I'd say that acceptance is a big part of it. Another thing, though, accepting, I guess, that you don't necessarily have the levers of control, but also you're not powerless in the sense that you're allowed to explain to your family what you're available for. And so if they are all going to separate and just expect you and your kids to pop over to each house and you're the ones that have to go on tour and do this, obviously that's them forcing an expectation on you. And you're allowed to kind of think that through carefully. Ask yourself if you really aren't available for that. And that's a hard thing to ask yourself. If you have 80% of you willing to do this, but 20% resents it, go ahead and do it. I don't want to see you rift the family or throw dice on the outcomes of this. If it's really getting to a point where you just don't have it in you anymore, your family is protesting and your kids and your husband are saying, listen, I'm not going to do this anymore, then I think you are allowed to contact family probably in November and tell them, hey guys, our little clan's not available to do this anymore, or this year we're definitely not going to do it. I'm willing to host everybody. Yes, mom and dad are going to be there. Sister, you are welcome to come. If that's not your cup of tea, if this is not a safe place for you, I do not resent you for that. You're entitled to your truth. You're entitled to your boundary. And I will miss you, but I'm not available to come out to you this year. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I think the challenging part in this is that feeling of being stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. Of if my sister doesn't get along with my parents, so she wants nothing to do with it, okay, that's fine. It's one thing to accept that, but then, well, I do want to go to this.
Right.
So do you think less of me now for wanting, am I being put in a position where I have to choose sides?
Yeah.
Where I have to go with my sister or I have to go with my parents?
Yes.
Because that's not fair.
It's not fair. And, and really quick, we start to have this tribalism of how dare you? How could you possibly turn your back on me and all of my suffering? And it's whoa, 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 whoa. I have a relationship with our parents that is distinctly different from yours. You're entitled to your anger. You're entitled to your boundaries. I don't share those. And I need you to respect that, right? And so you keep the holiday in your way, and I'm going to keep it in mind. So yeah, it's an unwinnable situation in the sense that you have very few, things that you can personally tweak to change it, and yet you're allowed to state your own boundary in the situation and say, guys, I'm sad to see that there's this rift in our family. I am not taking sides. I do not form an opinion about who's right or wrong. But there is only one calendar day that is Christmas, and here's how I'm going to do it this year. Please don't read into that. So obviously this is past tense. This has already happened, but I think a lot of people relate to this. A lot of people are seeing this kind of thing play out.
I think
a lot of families have this going on.
This is very common. These days, who only has one? If
one
you celebrate
Christmas to go to.
Who celebrates one?
Well,
Very few people.
It's. I think it's not as common necessarily that there's a conflict that's causing that. A lot of times it's just whatever. My wife has her side of the family. I have my side of the family. So we might go one place or the other because we don't expect our two branches of the tree to want to hang out. They don't know each other, as well. So I think that's really common to have that separation. But in this case, there's clearly this is all within one branch of the family, and there is a specific conflict that's keeping them. So, you're very limited in what you can actually control, but you're allowed to state your own truth and set a boundary for yourself and say, hey, I'm not available to do this. I love everybody. Here's why I'm choosing not to. Here's my alternative. You're all welcome at my home. If you want to do it in Windows, that's fine. But, this is what we're going to do. Usually people want to go to the grandparents' house, though, because that, you go to the people that are least mobile, so that tends to be the case. So I don't know. Yeah. That's a tough one, Ulrike, but
yeah, that is.
Don't be afraid to establish your own boundary.
So, hey.
Hi, Laura.
Hey. I've been on the mic the whole time. I need to put it closer?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Get closer.
I'm so sorry I have to say this.
Yeah.
Her name?
Oh, you've got it.
I've got it.
Okay, what is it?
Ulrika.
Ulrika. Okay. Ulrika. I noticed that you're rolling a letter in there.
Because that's what it sounded like, but I don't know the German rolling. I only know the Spanish rolling,
okay.
So I don't want to mess that up.
Ulrika.
Laura's drunk.
Yeah, I feel like that half-empty bottle of Patron does not make you an expert
she's just
on getting this right.
Yeah.
It was driving me nuts, and I know it's driving her nuts too. So I wanted to defend her.
Merry Christmas to you, Ulrika. There's your gift. Now we got it right.
Happy New Year, old Ricky.
Happy Ulricky?
Yeah, I've already forgotten
Ulricky?
it.
Yeah, I don't know. We've all given up on that name.
You guys are assholes. Sorry. Just had to say it.
Yeah, it's true. She speaks for the people.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show and the end of season 2, which is officially in the books. And this is the part of the show where we always thank our patrons. And guys, our Patreon community has gotten really strong. There's a lot of good feedback that happens, discussions that happen in our Patreon thread. We don't offer a ton of extra stuff. We do some journal stuff. We do these little side projects. We do, some fun things. We add extra content at the beginning and usually the end of a show. That goes on there. But at the end, guys, we know that if you've chosen to support the show financially, it's not because we're just so dang entertaining. It's because you believe in mental health, you've found a show that you feel deals with that in a meaningful way, and you've decided to put some finances behind it to ensure that it continues.
We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, we know it's the movement and more the mission and the principle of the project.
The fact
than
that you
us.
give money despite us.
That's right.
It's really amazing.
That's the way we 100% interpret it.
It shows your commitment to this, so we definitely appreciate
that
it.
you love mental health despite our horrible handling of it speaks highly of you. And so we don't necessarily have any. We do have a new THERAPOD.
We do.
Yeah, we
This
do
morning.
have a new THERAPOD. A new one joined us is 3 Scoops a Lady.
Yes.
3 Scoops a Lady upgraded from THERAPAL to THERAPOD. Thank you, 3 Scoops.
If you are a fan of ceramics, follow her.
That's right.
Give her a follow on Instagram.
Yeah, she's got a cool little ceramics business going on. And we especially want to thank our bosses, the Elite 8, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of our fan club, the TheraProducers. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, who's the chairman of the board, Kayla Lansbury, David Data Scoop Violon, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Dr. Ben Don, and ex officio board member Ellie O'Dare.
If you would like to hear more of this episode uncut and unedited,
And hear about my special gift that Nick got me that I haven't been able to talk about on the show because it is verboten.
Yeah, and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time that we've got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Help us reach others. Open this episode's description in your podcast app, and you can copy and paste the link provided to somebody who needs it. Don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter @PodTherapyGuys, and at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Thanks, and we'll see you at your appointment next week.
Can we end with the jingle again? Can we hear this life coach thing again?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm your life coach, Jacob. You have just been life coached.
It is glorious.
I know, that's the word I was going to use too. There's no other word for it.
Glorious.
That
Eighth
was
wonder of the world.
That was sent from heaven.
It's so good.
So I did today. I added the front and back tag on it.
Oh.
So Justin sent the music, and then I added the it's fine and the you've just been life coach.
You have just been life coach.
Yeah, there wasn't like an audio clip somewhere that Justin found of me saying
I was
you
gonna
have just
say,
been life coach.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, did you guys collab on this? Like, how did you get it done? That
We
post-edit.
unofficially collabed on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is glorious.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I am super excited
Justin
to
always
see
does
that.
great work.
Justin does do great work.